Hello, Horlick High School. Today we're going to be talking about observations and evidence statements. Basically what we're going to be doing is looking at how you can use the observations made by a evaluator as evidence statements in My Learning Plan and how you would upload those. So let's get right to it. An example of an evidence statement for an observation would kind of follow this format where you would have the date and type of observation, the teacher practice demonstrated during the observation, and then what component in Danielson it is aligned to. After that, you would then talk about how it addresses that specific component from the Danielson book, which an example of that is this guy here. This is the Framework for Teaching Evaluation Instrument 2013 edition. I believe all staff members have this. If not, I have a digital copy of this book that you are able to use if you need it. The one thing I will say about observations and the evidence statement you write for that observation is you can only align one Danielson component to each observation statement, which is a little different than an artifact, where an artifact you can align multiple components from Danielson to. An observation you can only align one. So just so you're aware of that. So here's an example of an evidence statement from an observation. Notice in the top here we have this kind of grayed out area. This is the sentence stem that I used in the previous slide. Now the example would be during the November 22nd, 2017 mini observation, I grouped my students based upon their common interests, which is aligned to 1B, demonstrating knowledge of students. This evidence statement addresses how I create lesson plans using my knowledge of students' interests to engage them in learning. So this last sentence is language that I'm getting from the Danielson book. So if I hop back over into the Danielson book and I find 1B in the Danielson book, so here's 1B, and notice we have unsatisfactory, basic. We're going to try to use a language from either proficient or distinguished, because that's the score we'd probably like to get. And if we are looking at in the proficient category and take a look at some of the statements that occur in that category, right here, the teacher has a good idea of the range of interests of students in the class. So that's a 3 rating in the Danielson framework of grouping your students based upon their individual interests. Now, how do we upload this into My Learning Plan? Well, I will share this PowerPoint with everyone, but let's actually go through the steps ourselves. So if you would, hop into My Learning Plan. And once you get into My Learning Plan, on the left-hand side, there's a spot called My Evaluations. So I'm going to click My Evaluations. And in My Evaluations, there's a link called Artifacts. So I'll click that. And when you're in this artifacts area, you'll see a list of all the artifacts that you've uploaded really since the beginning of My Learning Plan. I'm going to click this green plus sign that says Add Statement, which is a little different than my previous video, which talked about uploading artifacts. You would actually click the Upload button, but for a observation statement, you're going to click Add Statement. So I click that, and it gives me a spot to enter a statement. The statement I would enter, I'm actually just going to grab from my PowerPoint as my example, and I'll copy and paste it right here. So during the November 22nd, 2017 mini observation, I grouped my students, ... For the type, you would want to click Evidence Statement. That's the one you'd want to select. For the artifact category, this would be an observation. And it relates to your professional practice, so you can click that as well. If it relates to your SLO or your student learning objective, feel free to select that as well, but right now these two are the ones I'm going to pick. Now, where it says choose a rubric, I'm going to click this drop-down menu and I'm going to pick 1B, demonstrating knowledge of students. For the criteria, I only have one choice. I'm going to click that one choice, and then I'm going to click Add Criteria. I cannot add any more Danielson components to this observation that was made by my evaluator. This is it. I can't do anymore. So I come down here and I just click save. You do not need to notify an administrator. That is unnecessary. So just click save and it will be added to this list of statements that you have uploaded into my learning plan. Obviously, you want to pick ones that give you the best score in the Danielson frameworks. You'd want to choose good observation statements that you're able to tie, threes and fours from the Danielson framework to. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and ask for help from me. I'd be happy to help you with this, but hopefully you found this video useful, and we'll catch you guys later. Bye now.